It has been 145 days since I was last on a plane. To be honest, it's a little eerie. I mean, it is completely empty. I'm here at Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, my home airport, about to get on my first flight since coronavirus happened. And I want to show you what this is like, what's changed, what hasn't. So tag along.
I captured the flying experience on a quick work trip to Washington, D.C. in late June. And to see how different airlines are handling coronavirus, I flew two different airlines, American Airlines out to D.C. and Delta Airlines back home. You've probably heard that more people are traveling now, and that's true, but travel is still way, way down, so it may look emptier than you remember. That's especially true when it comes to security lines. Ironically, there's perhaps no better time to use security programs like TSA PreCheck and Clear. Just scanning my eyes and boarding pass at the Clear kiosk made it easy to avoid any unnecessary contact. I got through in less than 2 minutes. Many stores, shops, and restaurants at airports across the country have shut down or limited their hours. At Minneapolis in the morning, I found almost everything except for coffee shops and fast food restaurants were closed. You should be able to grab a water and a quick snack though. Many airport lounges have closed down too. Luckily, airlines have kept some lounges open at their biggest hubs.
So I'm here in the Delta Sky Club, and to be honest, it's a little eerie. I mean, it is completely empty. I mean, this lounge is usually packed with hundreds of people, and in the last half hour in here, I have seen 6 people, and 3 of them were Delta agents, which just goes to show you just how much travel has fallen off. Everything here in the lounge is pretty much self-serve, prepackaged food for breakfast, oatmeal, little banana breads, fruit, and cereal. The bar is open, but it's kind of all their complimentary drinks, so beer and simple cocktails and that. All in all, it's a totally fine experience. It's completely clean. Delta agents have been through several times to wipe things up and cleaned up after me a minute after I got up. But it's weird. It's really weird in here, especially for a place that used to be just so crowded. To have it be this empty is honestly surreal.
As I walked to my gate, about 70% of travelers I saw were wearing a mask. Please, just wear a mask. American still boards the plane as normal, and there were no markers in the boarding gate area to help people spread out. American has also decided to sell flights up to capacity. That means you'll likely sit next to a stranger. My flight was about 75% full, so I paid a little extra for a bigger seat to ensure no one sat next to me.
All right, so I just landed at Reagan here in Washington, D.C. After about a 2-hour flight on American, and it was okay. The thing that really stood out about this flight was there was absolutely no service from the flight attendants. No water, no kind of goodie bags with cleaning supplies or drinks or snacks or any of that. That's going to be pretty typical for some of these shorter flights on American. Again, my flight was only about 2 hours.
Much like Minneapolis, Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C. felt kind of like a ghost town, even for a slow Tuesday, and the vast majority of restaurants were closed. Delta's Sky Club in D.C. was a lot like Minneapolis too. I only saw a few people during my visit, and food was limited to cold and prepackaged snacks. On my flight home, Delta did things much differently. For starters, they're boarding the plane from back to front to limit how many passengers pass each other. And while every airline is cleaning more than ever, Delta is emphasizing cleanliness and safety more than perhaps any other airline.
We're setting a new standard of cleanliness. That includes sanitizing our aircraft with high-grade disinfectant, advanced air filtration systems, and wiping down all surfaces prior to boarding on each flight. In addition, we're wearing masks to ensure we're all protected, and we appreciate you wearing yours as well.
Delta is also blocking middle seats, so while my flight was technically sold out, I had an empty seat next to me. And for me, that was huge. The thought of bumping shoulders with a stranger is still a little bit terrifying. And finally, there was just much more service on Delta. Every passenger got a Purell wipe while boarding. And after takeoff, flight attendants came through the aisle to hand out a small bag with water, snacks, and even more Purell.
Just landed from DC back to Minneapolis, and all things considered, it was a good flight. Just as Delta has said, middle seats were blocked. There were, of course, some families sitting together, but I didn't have anyone next to me, and that was great. Everyone on board was wearing a mask, flight attendants included. And, the biggest difference I would say is just that Delta does a lot more for service than American did. As we walked on board, we got sanitizing wipes. And then shortly after takeoff, flight attendants came through the aisle with a baggie with water, snacks, and some more cleaning supplies as well, which was great. As I walk back to my car, I don't know that I can really put into words just how strange it is to fly right now. And I definitely can't tell you whether it's okay for you to travel. That's a personal decision that you need to make based on your health, your community's health, thinking about all of the ins and outs in this. What I can tell you is that flying right now is just so much different than it used to be just a few short months ago. And given the trajectory of coronavirus and how countries are handling it and how airlines are handling it, I think it's safe to say that air travel is going to be different for a very, very long time.
If you have any questions about flying, drop them in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, if you want more help to spend less and travel more, make sure to head to thriftytraveler.com. Cheers to cheap flights.